I've always thought this guy had unlimited potential to be a massive star wherever he went, as long as they featured him as Ricochet. They let him do Ricochet things. And when Ricochet can do Ricochet things, no one is better. There are things this guy can do that many people can only dream of. And he's constantly pushing the limit. He was always pushing the limit of what can and cannot be done. That Ricochet has not been seen in a long time. Ricochet has not been Ricochet for years now. Especially in WWE. In WWE, he feels like everybody else, and that should not be the case. We all know why that's not the case. But before we get into that, let me say a couple of things about Ricochet the person. Number one, we don't know why he's really leaving until he tells us why he's leaving. I personally think it's a combination of a multitude of things. One of them being burnout. Burnout is a real thing. When you have goals and aspirations and you see yourself being more than what you are, and you work your ass off tirelessly, 24/7, and you don't reach those goals, you experience burnout. Burnout, just to sum it up for you, is not seeing the results of your hard work. Ricochet came to WWE because he wanted to be a big star. Everything he's done in his career was to get to WWE. And he got there, and over these last 5 years, he was booked like a joke. Oh, he won the IC title, he won the US belt. Yeah, and both of those runs led to nothing because of Vince McMahon. He won the US belt in 2019 because Paul Heyman saw him as a massive star when Paul was running Raw. Remember when Eric Bischoff was running SmackDown and Paul Heyman was running Raw? Paul Heyman saw Ricochet as a massive star and pushed him strongly. What happened? Vince killed Paul Heyman and Eric Bischoff's executive producer roles. He took back over, buried Ricochet. He was just there to job to the major stars or upcoming stars. He was booked like a joke, a jobber. He was. For us to have this conversation, we had to talk about the facts. Ricochet has not been booked like the main event player that we know he can be. Then when he won the IC title, I think he also won a World Cup somewhere in there. I think that was 2022, right? Vince McMahon left, and then Triple H took over, and since he's a big fan of Ricochet, we saw him on NXT, Triple H saw the talent that is Ricochet and said, you know what, we're going to give him a shot. Hey, we're going to try it again. Somewhere in there, Vince McMahon came back, and then he stopped seeing TV time. When Vince left permanently, okay, now we've reached a point where the sky's the limit. Ricochet's going to get an opportunity. Unfortunately, Ricochet has now reached a point where he's been buried for so long, it's a lot harder now to connect with the audience and get to that level. Especially now that we have Cody Rhodes, we have Logan Paul, we have Braun Breaker, we have The Rock, we have all these talents who are coming back and coming up. And Ricochet has to start underneath the ground because of how far he's been buried. I'm not going to sit here and say that Ricochet wasn't given any opportunities. I'm saying Ricochet got a bad deal. Look at his NXT run. Look at how consistently, how strong he was featured on NXT. His main roster run was nowhere close to that. If Ricochet was featured like he was on NXT, he would be a major, at least a bigger star than he is now in WWE. Half of you wouldn't be caring about his goddamn microphone skills. Oh, his microphone skills are terrible. Really? Yes. WWE is all about showmanship. There are other aspects to showmanship than talking. Do I have to literally go down the list of world champions who could not talk, who were bad on the microphone? I'll just name one. Brock Lesnar. Horrible on the microphone. He's gotten better in these last few years as Cowboy Brock, I'll admit that, but he's nowhere close to being world championship material on the microphone. But that's okay. He had Paul Heyman to make up for it. That's why we have managers. I can keep going, Batista was never great on the microphone. Andre the Giant was never great on the microphone, but he had Bobby the Brain Heenan. Big Show was never great. Multiple-time world champ. Roman Reigns, when he first started, was horrible. Jeff Hardy, love him. Not that great on the mic. I mean, Yokozuna, Bret Hart. Bret Hart wasn't all that great. Underrated, because people say he was terrible. I disagree. But he was never great on the microphone. Goldberg, you're next. And then, on top of that, there are people who are amazing savants on the microphone who were never world champion. Jake the Snake Roberts, Mr. Perfect, Kurt Hennig, Rowdy Piper. I'll be here all day. I'm not trying to hear this bullshit that Ricochet can't be a world champion until he gets good on the microphone. Yes, Ricochet is lacking in that department, but he makes up for it in other aspects. He has an amazing look. He's one of the best inside the ring. His acrobatics are incredible, out of this world. That is his charisma. You don't need to show charisma on the microphone. You can show charisma in other ways. It's how you're booked. It's how you're featured. At the end of the day, all the WWE cares about is creating moments. That is the very essence of what makes WWE the WWE. You don't have to just create moments on the microphone. You can create them inside the ring. And that's where Ricochet shines. Ricochet is a moment maker, not on the microphone, but inside the ring. I'm not making excuses for Ricochet. I do think he needs to get better when it comes to talking, whether it's WWE or not. You should just be good enough on the microphone. I agree with that. But to say he'll never be a world champion, or he can't be a world champion because he's not good right now on the microphone, is asinine. This 5-year run of his contract has been nothing but horrible booking and people in charge looking at Ricochet and going, you're not worth my time. You're not a world champion. I don't care how good you are, how much the fans like you. I don't like you. That is what hurt Ricochet. Period. End of story. So when I heard the news that Ricochet was leaving, and I heard this last night, I was surprised. I shouldn't be surprised. I think Triple H has been trying his hardest to get Ricochet to a level where he's seen as a main event player. Unfortunately for Ricochet, currently, it's a lot harder to get to that level, even with the opportunities and the freedom that he has. I think we're seeing more of that NXT pre-WWE Ricochet on TV now, but he's still, in all aspects, seen as a jobber. I think the only time I felt like he had a chance was that feud with Logan Paul. That's the last time I felt like he had a chance to be seen in that light. And then he did the feud. It was good, but then they stopped using him after that. He was off TV. They didn't follow up on the feud. I don't think he ever got a shot at the World Heavyweight Championship, this iteration of it, at least. No, even the old iteration. He never got a shot at a world title, ever. If you're not presented consistently like a world champion, or like a main event player, a la Cody Rhodes, a la Roman Reigns, how do you expect the fans to see you? And it sucks. It sucks because he's formed friendships here. He met his fiancée here, Samantha Irvin. And now that the evil regime that kept him down is gone, it still kind of feels like he has so much work to do. Because even now, I feel like he's handcuffed. We need to go back and look at his NXT run. I can't play the clip. I can pause and stop certain moments just to kind of point out what we're missing. The kind of things that this Ricochet can do that I think, if given the opportunity to showcase who he is, this man would be a major star in WWE. Right there. Already. That man did a double. Watch it. Let me be sure that this volume is down. Watch this. 1, 2. A double moonsault. He was known for that, by the way. That was his finisher. before he came to WWE. This man, here's a spot here where he's taking a powerbomb off the top rope. Look what happens. Lands on his feet. Sometime in NXT where he was feuding with Velveteen Dream, he did that same stunt to the outside of the ring. And I think we saw it with Logan Paul as well. This should be no shock to you, how good he is. Look at him counter this high-low. One's going for a clothesline, one's going for a leg sweep. Look what he does. Backflips out of it. This is something that Montez Ford does all the time, that little dive over the top. They probably told him not to do that because they want Montez Ford to be known for that. Love this spot. Moonsault off the top of the ladder. Then a freaking shooting star press. He did this once. I think at WrestleMania 39, right? During that tag match. That is so damn cool, man. Some of you guys don't know this, but Ricochet is deceptively strong. Dijakovic is 300 pounds. And that man deadlifted him in this suplex. Look at that. We don't get to see this stuff with Ricochet. Oh, I love this spot. Check this out. Running Hurricane Rana. Right over the top rope. So, you know how the Hardy Boys do that poetry in motion spot? This is a poetry in motion spot with the shooting star press. Off the back. Boom. I'd be here all day, man. Just talking about how good this man is. 2 rings. This is War Games on NXT. From the second ring all the way over to the first. Look at how high he got. Spaceman dive. Hasn't done that on the main roster yet. There's a lot of moves this man can do. And he's always pushing the limit of what he can and can't do. We don't see that enough. We haven't seen Ricochet be Ricochet on the main roster. And that bothers me. Because you can't say he's not world championship material unless you see him at his best. And so when I think about how he's been booked, and I consider the fact that he could also be burnt out, yeah, I 100% understand why he wants to leave. This could be a Cody Rhodes situation. When Cody Rhodes left in WWE, they didn't see him as a world champion. They saw him as Stardust. He had to leave, go create and start another wrestling promotion, which became, in a sense, WWE's competitor, to then be seen as a world champion. I don't think Ricochet is going to go start another promotion, but I can see him going to an AEW or New Japan Pro Wrestling or some other promotion to be a world champion and prove that he can do it, that he can be a draw as Ricochet. So I don't want to hear people say that he was never going to be a world champion. Don't you dare say that. You don't know that. By the way, how old is he? Because if he's not getting younger, I can see why he also wants to leave. Ricochet, age. Ricochet is 35 years old. Y'all, his body is getting to the point where he won't be able to do half the stuff that he's doing now. So while you're in your prime, I can understand the urgency to become someone important, to become a big star. Because when you hit 40, your body starts doing things it normally doesn't do. He's running out of time, y'all. He's still under contract. The WWE could always talk to him. They could always negotiate something with him to stay. Although I do feel like, currently, as much as I would hate to see it, it's most likely best that he does leave. Go somewhere else, prove yourself as Ricochet. Get over, connect, draw as Ricochet. Hopefully be a world champion as Ricochet and prove to the world that you could make it work. That you can be a big star, that you are a major name as Ricochet. So although I hate that he's leaving, because I know his dream was to be in WWE, if this is what he has to do to get back to what he was, if he's unhappy and he wants to get out, I support him 100%. 100% I support him. Go bet on yourself. You could always come back. For all we know, maybe he just wants to take a break. Take 1 year off and then come back when he's ready. Who knows? We don't know. We don't know what's in his mind. Maybe he'll tell us while he's in WWE. But anything can happen from now until he leaves. They could negotiate something with him where he stays, and they feature him strongly as Ricochet. And if they don't, he leaves, goes to AEW. I hope to God that AEW features him as a top star, as a main event player, and Tony Khan doesn't get bored of him within 3 months, and he ends up on Rampage wrestling for no reason, and he's right back to the same spot that he was in WWE, but only worse because less people watch AEW than WWE. If he goes to AEW, he needs to be a world champion. Otherwise, don't go. I'd rather you go to Japan, New Japan Pro Wrestling, or something else where I know he can be featured as a main event player. Because that's what this is. Ricochet sees himself as a main event player. Nothing wrong with that. Go be one. Go to a show, go to a company that will feature you as a world champion, as a main event player, as someone important, and not a jobber. If this is it for Ricochet in WWE, maybe one day he can come back. Go out to AEW for 3 years, rebuild your reputation, help them out maybe, then come back like Cody Rhodes did. Maybe then, when you're 38, 39, maybe 40, they'll give you a world title, which is stupid and that sucks, but whatever. How do y'all feel about this? How do y'all feel about Ricochet? For real, let me know down below. If he's lacking something, tell me what you feel like he's lacking and what he could improve on. Maybe some of you feel like me. He's handcuffed. He is a world championship kind of guy. We just don't get a chance to see it. I do think if he ends up leaving, he will land on his feet. He will be just fine. He's made enough money, honestly, to just take a break. Go on vacation. And then when you're ready to come back, maybe not go back to WWE. Maybe go somewhere else for a little bit. When The Rock retires, Roman Reigns goes away, maybe Cody takes a step back. That would be a great time for Ricochet to come in and go, all right, let me show you what I'm all about. As Ricochet. With no handcuffs. Give me your thoughts down below. Tell me if I'm wrong or right. Don't care. Regardless, like the video, subscribe, and click that bell to catch all my content when it comes out. Follow me on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and donate using PayPal, Patreon, Cashapp, and VENMO. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll catch you guys next time right here in Alyx's world. A place that is, was, and forever will be a safe space for wrestling fans like you. Peace.
When you're